wants to be king!
Today I want to talk about something that I haven't heard anybody else say. An angle on this whole Andrew Tate situation that I feel is probably played somewhat of a role in what's happened to that man. A couple of months ago, a year ago, whenever it was, when Tate originally flipped his ideas about religion, I believe the first move was the realization that if there was so much evil in the world, if evil was a real thing, then there had to be a direct opposing force, which would be good. And if you're speaking about the devil, then you're speaking about God. When he came to that revelation, I remember listening to his talking points there, and they were compelling. But in that time, I thought, the dude, because he says so much outlandish things, I thought that maybe he was simply trolling. I thought that maybe the dude was just being sarcastic as he's been so often. I didn't pay much attention to it because it was in a short clip, like much of his content was and still is. And so that was that. But then when he said that he converted to Islam and started almost preaching, I remember thinking, I hope this guy's not playing. I hope that he's not playing around, because he's about to find out how real God truly is. I've spoken several times about myself being at war with God because of trust that I put into clergymen when I was going through at the time, the most trying thing that I'd ever gone through in life. Was facing penitentiary time, on the run, already had multiple evading arrest cases that, it was just a matter of time. And so I fell into church and basically put everything in God's hands. And my world fell apart. Everything that I thought was one way, it just got flipped upside down. And it wasn't what I wanted to hear. It wasn't what I expected. And so for the next 25 years, I was angry. I was angry and bitter, and went on a rampage to try to destroy everything that had to do with Christianity and God. I had immersed myself in different religions, not converting, but just studying them. 5%ers, Buddhism, the Nation of Islam, all of these different religions. While I was incarcerated, I read up on them and just took the common threads out of what I learned that were good things and shed the rest. Didn't buy into the concept. And then after my release, after 20 years or so, going through what turned out to be just a self-fulfilling prophecy, where I had become a person, I had become a construct that I had made in defense of my environment. I had actually become this person, and I needed to desperately change who this person was. I'd already paid my dues for the things that I had done wrong, but my mindset, the way that I thought about things, was toxic. It was wrong. And so the way that I conducted my business, the way that I treated my life, it wasn't respectful at all. It wasn't as somebody who was planning for a healthy future. I didn't expect to make it past 25, 26 years old. And so I just freestyled. I freestyled through it and based everything off of my emotional reaction to what it was. So basically, I did whatever I felt like doing. And that caused a lot of problems. It caused a lot of problems that seemed to be external. And when I decided that I needed to find answers, I found my way back on my knees. I asked for His will to be done, thy will be done, all that good stuff. And immediately things just changed. Everything that was in the dark everything that I thought that I'd gotten away with, it just all of the shadows that I believed that I had outrun, they just exposed me. They exposed themselves. The door was blown off of that closet, and all of the evil shit that I had done in my relationship in particular, all of these things came to light. And the person that I really was, it was shown to me. And so for the next 2.5 years, it was hell. It was a karmic hell where no matter what I did, no matter where I turned, it was a constant revelation. It was a constant, the door had been opened and would not be closed again. And it was the same reality that I had been shown prior to going to the penitentiary. I just didn't know the lesson. I didn't realize that all the bad things that were happening, all of the stuff that made me pick up my sword and my shield against God, was that my prayers actually being answered, the truth being shown to me. And I didn't want to accept that truth. I didn't want to accept that fate that I had chosen for myself. So when I see people that are genuinely walking to the gates and deciding to shed the armor of their old self, whenever people do that, I'm always really cautious to let them know you need to brace yourself for what is to come. Because so many times we believe that this conversion, this thing is just going to be a snap and it's over. Western padding of the truth has many people feeling like all they have to do is say I'm sorry and you're good to go. You may be good to go, but in that cleansing, generally those things that you did in the dark indeed come to light. And I've told the story several times in the past, and it's really just a way that I look at life, the way that I look at the way that things have gone in my world. Whenever you're serving darkness, you will be protected by a lot of things. You will be protected from a lot of things happening. When my brother and I when we were hustlers back in the Reagan era, when we were coming up through our journey to become men, we made decisions that got us in a great deal of trouble. We had an awareness of what it is that we were doing, and we knew that there was going to be a penalty that we paid through man's hand. So we knew that there was time that we could face, and we were prepared for that. But the karmic debt, that's the debt that man doesn't get to sentence you to. And every time in my life when I was doing wrong, if I stayed off of my knees, if I just played the game, wrote the letter, told the lies, then I would find myself back free. But it was when I submitted myself over to God's will, whenever I got down and I prayed and I said, listen, man, I'm messing this up, you get it. It always seemed to be a crash. And I never realized that the crashes that I was engaging in myself were much more destructive than the ones that were led by his hand. I think that no matter what comes of this, I think that it's going to be interesting to see what the debt is that Andrew Tate has to pay. He started calling upon God. He became a religious man. And if nothing else, I think that people should take heed to this. Not in judging the man for what he did or didn't do. That's between himself, the alleged victims, the people that are in the court system, and God. But the last part of that equation, I think, is probably the most telling part of that equation. It wasn't until he picked up a different book a different viewpoint, a different idea about what his place in this world was. If you're paying attention, his message changed quite a bit. Once he became a religious person, once he sought out to be a more godly man, things in his life, his message, and the outcomes in his life started to change. The outcome, the final verdict, is yet to be seen. But this is one of the things that I came to terms with when I was facing my own sentence, when I was facing my own court hearings. Sometimes in life, when it's time to pay for what you've done, what it is that you're paying for isn't what you're being charged for, but it's for all the things that you got away with. When you call upon God, when you ask for answers, when you ask for a sign, when you ask for anything, you need to be very careful what you ask for. And you need to realize that more often than not, the answer looks nothing like what we expect it to. But before we can get to where we need to go, those are the things that need to be cleaned up. Those are the things that need to be corrected. Those are the wrongs that need to be right. I think that's what we're seeing here on some scale with Mr. Tate. And if he's a righteous man, God will see him through this. If he's got karmic debt to pay, we'll see to that as well. Be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. Out.